everybody, Tim Norris here, aka GreyElephant.
And Carmen Norris.
And welcome to a quick review by GreyElephant Gaming. What are we reviewing today?
Today we are reviewing Warhammer Quest, the adventure card game.
I don't put it up here just for no reason. Of course that's what we're reviewing. Now if you haven't yet checked it out, what should they do?
You should watch our live play.
Yeah.
And we played through all 5 scenarios.
Yes, we did. And you're going to be able to see whether or not we was able to defend the town of Schrumpf or if we let the Orc Horde overrun us. I'm just going to tell you now, it didn't end very well.
I don't know why we were defending the town of Schrumpf. I mean, they had it under control. They were burning heretics, catapulting them, drowning them. Yeah. I don't understand why they needed our help at all.
I felt like that they were really making steps in the right direction. They burned the heretics' literature. They catapulted them out. They set them on fire. And even if you was a foreigner, you were bad things happen. So I felt like they were handling it, but at the same time, we were there, kind of in the way.
Trying to help.
So we did go through all 5 of the quests in our live play, and so we've got a great feel on how this plays for 2 players. Now, I have played it with more than just 2 players, so I'm going to make some comparisons to that. And I will just flat out tell you guys, it is easier with more players, and we're going to kind of talk a little bit about why would it be easier with more players.
Yes.
Now, if you're not super familiar with the game, your character can only hold 3 enemies in front of you at one point in time. That's called engaged. Not really like the marriage engaged, but just as that they're in front of you and they're engaged with you, kind of like you're eyeballing each other. Whenever you are supposed to receive any more monsters, you're going to receive just the damage that monster would inflict, and then it goes into the shadows, which is in between our 2 play areas. That becomes a big deal with the 2-player game. And when you're spawning enemies and they pop up in front of you all the time, you don't really have the option of saying, well, it's going to go over to the 3rd or the 4th player. It's only going to go in front of 2 players.
The number of enemies does not change when you have 2 players.
Exactly. And then what ends up happening as well is that means that you're going to be rolling more black dice each time it is your turn. So each enemy that's in front of you is going to require extra black dice being rolled. Mm-hmm. So overall, the 2-player experience is it's a struggle. It really is. And it almost feels like that maybe instead of them increasing their health and giving extra activations per 2 players, you probably should have reduced the number of the creatures that were spawned or somehow changed it up a little bit more to make it reasonable. Now, that being said, I don't know if we've played enough because we did go through all 5 of the quests, and I can't tell you right now, I'd probably play a little bit differently than what I did looking back now. So hindsight is 2020, and it is an experience that I want to do again. Like
any co-op game, it's difficult. You don't always win, and you want to play it over and over again. Mm-hmm. Now, the other thing that happens is that there are effects on the enemy cards and also on the, what is this called?
That would be the peril.
The peril track. Whereas the entire party, you distribute 2 wounds, amongst the party. Exhaust 2 actions amongst the party. Mm-hmm. If you have more than 2 players, that's really not going to hurt you as much at all. I mean, let's face it, with 2 players, you have a total of 8 actions. With 4 players, you have a total of 16 actions to choose from. So it's different.
It is a much more difficult game with 2 players. And it even says that in the rule book. So I think, I would really like to experience this whole thing over with playing as 2 characters and you playing as 2 characters. So that also gets me into the whole replayability aspect. Because a lot of people are like, well, there's only 5 quests. I mean, really, are you going to want to play any more once it's done?
Yes.
Yes, I do. In fact, I want to win, okay? I do not like losing. And that's Carmen. I know she hates losing as well. And you want to win at this game, and especially once you get to the 5th quest, and it's like, well, it all led up to this moment, and then you fail, puts a sour taste in your mouth, and you really want to set it up.
You want to play again.
Yeah, so you wanted to talk, I think, a little bit about that aspect of how you travel no matter what.
Well, I wanted to compare it to Pathfinder in that aspect as well. I got used to playing Pathfinder to where you get to do the scenario over again.
The Pathfinder adventure card game is what she's talking about.
Pathfinder adventure card game. Because this is the adventure card game, it makes you think of that one.
Yeah.
Of course, I wanted to talk about some of the differences between the 2 as well. But the major difference that I noticed is that with this one, you suffer the defeat or the victory effect, and you move on no matter what.
Yeah.
You don't have another chance to replay that scenario. And at first, it leaves a sour taste in my mouth, and I'm disappointed. And I said that at the end of our last live play. But if you really think about it, I don't know. Pathfinder got stale sometimes because we had to play the same scenario over and over again, you know?
Yeah.
And it changes it up if you want to play this game in its entirety through all 5 quests. It's going to make the quest even more different depending on whether you suffered victory or defeat conditions in your last playthrough.
Yeah, and I like the fact that you have to progress. I think it's very thematic. And speaking of thematic, the only thing that does not feel thematic to me is that whenever you deplete a gear card, that you can't get rid of that gear card then and replace it with a new one. That doesn't make a lick of sense to me, and that rule should be taken out because that did affect our game, in my opinion. Other than that, everything else was very thematic. If you lose at a quest, yeah, guess what? You lost. You're going to have to just deal with that, and you're going to have to move on.
And it makes the next quest more difficult.
Yeah, you just got to put on your big boy pants, and you just got to keep going. And I love the aspect of how, you know, these quests, even though they're technically the same, they do change based upon what creatures, what types of locations. So each quest, even though, yeah, it's the same, is going to feel different because not all monsters are created equal. Some of the tier monsters, I mean, yeah, they're in the same tier as some of the other ones, but man, some of them are healing the other ones. Some of them are doing extra damage. I mean, they do not feel like they're the same, and that does affect the type of game that you're playing.
It also changes depending on what equipment you have. That changes a lot. You know, you're going to choose different actions.
Or what hero you're playing as.
Right.
And that leads me to the other thing. How do you feel about the heroes and the balance of them?
I feel like they're not really very balanced. I played with the Bright Wizard, and the Bright Wizard, she takes wounds for almost everything she does, which really was difficult. But her rest action does become pretty powerful after you upgrade it. So maybe if we would have played more, then I would have gotten used to balancing out her rest action with her other actions.
How would you rank the heroes? In your mind right now, how would you rank them?
In my mind right now, the Way Watcher seems like the most powerful. I was totally kicking butt with her. I could like take out so many enemies, and I was able to exhaust them and make them retreat. I never felt very threatened. And
until you died.
Until I died. But my point is, Tim always died first.
Yeah.
He took a lot more wounds than me because I was able to just keep, you know, making the enemies retreat and exhaust them. And then I think your priest was probably the second most powerful because we just really didn't do too well when we tried to play with the dwarf and the bright wizard.
I would say that the characters are probably more balanced than what we perceive them at this moment. And the only reason is because we haven't played enough with the other characters.
We're more experienced with these
how
characters.
That they work.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I'm anxious to want to sit down and play this again, because I want to play with the new characters or the other characters, and I really want to be able to fully experience them, especially when they get their legendary gear and stuff. Speaking of that, the legendary gear is very difficult to obtain, very, very annoying almost in a sense. And I would really like to be able to try to get the legendary gear, but it just, I only ever got one piece, and you did end up getting two pieces out of the whole thing.
It took for a long time for us to get
You got your third or your second piece. I mean, it was almost the
game.
Thing was over, and
right.
you finally got it. So, if you do obtain it, it's great stuff. But man, it's really difficult to obtain. I do love how between each quest you do have the settlement phase where you get to upgrade your characters. You get to get their advanced cards, or
you
you
get to
decrease
do
the
that
gear.
even if you suffer a defeat condition.
Yeah,
so
and I do like that a lot. So overall, let's wrap it up. What is your final view and opinion of the game?
Well, I actually had a couple more points.
Go ahead.
One was when we first started playing the game, the wording on the cards was difficult. And basically there's not commas. And so you have to read through it carefully. But I just wanted to say that it goes away really fast. If that worries you when you first start playing the game, that isn't a problem later on. The other was that I feel like a lot of people are probably going to compare it to Pathfinder, the adventure card game, and they're going to want us to compare it. I think that the games are different enough that this does not replace Pathfinder at all, They
just share the same kind of name.
They share the same name, but there's a very different feel to it. In Pathfinder, you're moving between different locations. In this one, you have 4 actions that you're choosing between. It feels like you have more decisions to make in that aspect, but I feel like I enjoy both games.
Yeah, and truthfully, I don't want everybody to just look at what we did in the live play and judge this game by that, because I know that we did eventually lose at that, and people will say, well, it's stacked against you, it's too difficult, blah, blah, blah. Some people say, well, there's only 5 scenarios. Once you're done with those, it's ended, and you're not going to want to play anymore. All of this stuff I want you guys to understand is not simply not true. I want to play this. I want to set it up and play it right now.
We do. We want to play
right now
because we want to win.
Because we want to win, and even if I did win, I would still come back to playing this. This game has great replay value, and because quite simply, it's fun. It goes into my top 10 games of the year. I will have this somewhere in that because I just look at this game. It's easy to set up. It was a little difficult to learn because I didn't care for the way that the 2 rulebook system work, which usually I'm a big fan of that Fantasy Flight does, but the way that they had the learn to play, and then really everything wasn't hardly in that learn to play, and you had to go to the reference and read that completely through.
Right.
They should have put more into the learn to play book, and then it would have been simpler to understand.
I just feel like playing it over again, it's not going to get stale.
Right.
You've got so many things that are going to change each time.
And like she said, it's not fair to make a comparison to Pathfinder adventure card game. They are not nearly the same game. Do not let that enter your mind at all. But if I had to say pick one over the other, I would pick this one just because I know how much I really love this game, the style of it, and the fact that no, it's not going to go on for 87 adventures doing the exact same thing over and over and over like Rise of the Runelords did. It became a little stale after a while.
Yeah, it
Wrapping it up, I really do recommend this one. I think you guys will have a lot of fun. But I never want you guys to take our opinion of it. What should they do instead?
You should watch our live play,
That's right.
and then you can see how the game works in real time.
That's right. And that's going to give you guys a fantastic view on how this game does work, and then you're going to be able to make a decision for yourselves. But like I said, I do think this is one. Yeah, I like it a lot. So we appreciate you guys watching. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.